live with little or no editing. It's Defense Up Cosmic Crucible Edition. I'm Run 7, your host, bringing you information brought straight from some of the smartest minds in MSF. I was joined by Pathfinder Gaming and BeniWestSide. This is BeniWestside's defense, however, so he's got the inside scoop. And if you want the inside scoop, then join us Monday, Wednesday, Friday on Twitch. We're here in the mornings discussing this stuff behind the scenes. It's things that you can't find on the Stream Recycle videos. All right, we've got a tough one to go over. These are a bunch of teams that we're okay with and are done well, but Beni's having some trouble with people just walking over his defense as a whole lately, and so we're trying to figure out why that is. And we'll go over that at the end and come up with some new opportunities, but first let's grade these right here and see how they look at a glance. Team number 1 is the Infinity Watch. This is a great team. It absorbs a lot of efficiency points because they just take a while to take down, and there's not a real good way to go up against them. Moondragon as a skirmisher is not a fantastic choice. I think for War and Crucible defenses, she should probably be a healer. There's some flex uses for Moondragon. I think that's why Beni has her as a skirmisher. It's probably not worth the expenditure for Beni to change it, but if you guys are wondering, I do believe that healer's the way to go. The other choices for this, for the ISOs here are fine. Everything here is good. I'm gonna go ahead and give Beni the A. It's not worth making any changes, and it's a pretty decent, solid defense. Over here, in a differently sized thumbnail, is the A-Force team with Silver Surfer. Now, I like to use this team on offense with Doom to go into YA. It's a really efficient way to beat the Young Avengers when they're on defense. Beni doesn't like doing that, and so he put Surfer in here. He's got Nico adjacent to Spider-Woman and Surfer because there's a 1 in 3 chance that she's going to give them some counters. That's a pretty decent thing to do. He's also got a fairly well-developed Captain Marvel, as you can see there. This team is fast. They have some control features. They work pretty well, and we like everything that's going on with this defense. It's fine. It's not my first choice for defense, but Beni doesn't use them on offense, and it's a big number, and so that's why they're here. I can give them the A. It's not wasting anything. There's an opportunity to change Surfer to a Raider here, but it's not really worth the ISO expenditure. On defense, I like Surfer as a Raider. On offense, I like him as a striker. I think this is fine. Moving on to team number 3 is the Deathseed team with Kingpin and Phoenix. Phoenix is basically going to be pulling everybody under stealth and giving Magneto a little bit more time to pop off. Her ISO doesn't matter so much. Dark Phoenix doesn't get the ISO bonus, just gets the stat bonus. So Striker's a good way to go because it gives a slight bonus to the damage stat. Kingpin as a fortifier is perfect. He's pretty built up, so that minion that he summons in will stay there for a while, having 2 death proof and defense up or something like that with a taunt, distracting people until Phoenix can go. There's things that will clip Magneto off before he goes. The Deathseed team is new, and sometimes people don't know how to deal with it, but honestly, I think at, I believe, Diamond 3 or something that Beni's working in. I think Diamond's up, he's up there at the top. I think people are going to be able to figure this one out. Another choice for Phoenix is going to be Sabretooth. This is, again, a team that just isn't really being used on Beni's offense, and it's a pretty big number, so he's throwing it on defense. I would prefer an Uncanny on defense with the Age of X bonuses, but Beni doesn't have the Uncanny built up, so this is fine. Everything's done good enough. There's 2, 3 strikers on the field, one person putting out vulnerables. And that's not great, but there's no other way to really do it other than if we put Sabretooth in here as a Raider, then you're gonna have 2 people putting out vulnerables, 2 people soaking them up. So for me, I'm gonna go with an A- on this team. I think Sabretooth is probably the way to go here. I just don't really like this team in general as a defensive team. Team number 4 is the Astonishing X-Men with Doc Ock. Doc Ock's gonna be putting out Deflex after his first turn. He's a healer, doing healing things. You've got 2 strikers, one on Jubilee, one on Bishop, and I don't really like that. For me, I would replace Doc Ock and go back to Kitty. That way, there's more of a chance that Jubilee calls somebody that's a skirmisher for her to double tap with, and there's more of a chance for Bishop to get the call with somebody who is a skirmisher and getting the double tap for more damage. Because you don't really want Jubilee calling an assist from Bishop, because then there's no double tap action as they're both strikers. You could alternatively put in Wolverine in place of Doc Ock as a Raider, I think might be the way to go. I wouldn't want to put Wolverine in here as a striker because then you'd have 3 strikers, 2 people putting on vulnerables. It's just not a great matchup. So a few things I'd like to see changed here. Beni likes to put Bishop in the middle next to people who drop low on health. I don't think you're getting a lot of value from the deflex coming off of Doc Ock. It doesn't happen until his second turn. I'm not excited about this team either. I think everything that beats a straight Astonishing X-Men will beat this with Doc Ock in here. It's a big team, calls for a big response, but we have teams that do this pretty efficiently. So for me, I think this is going to be like a B+ team. Not a whole lot that he could change. I asked him if Jubilee was also a skirmisher, and he said no, he built her as a striker from the start, and I don't think it's really worth it for him to change. But for other people, I kind of like Jubilee as a skirmisher, or alternatively, you could make Bishop a skirmisher and Jubilee as a striker. I don't like having them both as strikers, but it's not worth the ISO cost to change those out. All right, let's move on to team number 5 is a Gamma with Thor instead of Red Hulk, and you'll see where Red Hulk is in room 6. They are bio. They get the biological temperament bonuses and stuff. Thor has some synergy with Hulk. Now, Hulk is taunting, and he's going to be getting hit a lot, which may get enough charges on Thor that Thor pops off. Not to mention Hulk is next to She-Hulk, so if She-Hulk starts taunting and the splash damage hits Hulk, that's going to give Thor the charges. This isn't a terrible idea. However, I think if Beni has hero Asgardians that are at a comparable level to Thor, he should consider maybe moving that hero Asgardian team to defense and then bringing Red Hulk back here. We'll talk about that later. The ISOs, the placement, everything that's going on here is fine with me. So this team, for now, it gets an A begrudgingly. Team number 6 is the Darkhold with Red Hulk. This is a tough team. This is a team that's you're gonna want to bring in Uncanny, or you could bring in that really specific Red Hulk comp that will, if not beat this team in one shot, it'll at least get rid of Red Hulk. And I think that's the Doom, Dorm, Red Guardian, maybe Star-Lord for energy, kind of weird thing where you try and get them to go into Red Guardian and bring Doom under the 50% threshold so that he takes somebody like Omega Red on a time platform ride and you go hard after Red Hulk. That's something that could happen. This is fine. It's a big team. He's got Raider on Red Hulk. He's got the proper ISOs on everybody. You could put Skirmisher on Agatha if you wanted to. Raider's fine with me. Placement's great. It looks good. So I can give him an A for this. The thing is, and we talked extensively about this, is that this is the one big catching point in the defense. After that, all of these teams are basically one-shottable with other stuff. This one is probably going to be taken out by an unlimited team. So one other option, even though these all got high marks, one other option is that we could take this team apart and do a Darkhold with, say, Kingpin, and put that somewhere else and put all of Gamma in here. And then we could do other things, like we could replace this with Asgardians or an Uncanny if you wanted to go a little bit stronger here. That's not going to call a big response, but you might get some more value out of it. This could be taken off of defense, paired up with Doom to go into Young Avengers when they're on defense. If you're gonna have a full Gamma on defense someplace, like in Room 6, you might want to replace the Bio team with a Young Avenger team, because the Young Avenger team uses a counter similar to this, except you're replacing Silver Surfer with Doom. And Doom can be used as a great counter for Gamma, and Doom can be used in a counter for the Young Avengers. So having your Young Avengers and your Gamma both on defense is one way to kind of make your opponents choose between what's efficient and what's not. And then finally, if you wanted to replace this team with a Tangled Web, Dorm, and maybe Ultron, if Ultron gets that rework that Boylon speculated that he might, maybe that's going to be a great team. I like having either this team on defense or Tangled Web on defense, because this team does a good job of beating Tangled Web teams. The Tangled Web team does a better job of beating Tangled Web teams, however. So it's kind of a mix and match, but the point is that I want to push here is that you should try to have at least 2 really stubborn defenses, preferably ones that both require an unlimited counter. And if you can do that, you're really forcing your opponent to have to pick and choose or at least double tap. And if you can do that and still full clear all their teams with single taps, well, then you're going pro. So all these teams are okay, but none of these teams, aside from this one, are really great. And I think we should try and either split this up or just come up with something else that's really going to draw in that uncanny. So whether you go hard on offense or go hard on defense, pick one. Don't try and take the middle route. That usually ends in disaster. Thank you, BeniWestSide, for both joining us in chat and for giving this defense to us to review. If you want your defense reviewed, be sure to look in the description. Links are down there. You can find me in my Discord. Send me some pics, and we'll get you featured on Defense Up. Remember, guys, don't just have a good game. Be good to yourselves and others, too. And I'll see you next time. Bye.